Welcome back to the Dean Obeidallah Show. Friday, April 4th, third hour on Friday can only mean one thing. What just happened as we look back at the insanity of the week. And it's great because America's coming to an end. I got three great people to help make sense of it. Jessica Brodkin's back, a comedian, a graduate of MIT, a Reiki master, former CIA officer, and she's got a one-person show, Spy Awakening. Jessica, good to see you again, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
And you said it very serious, very Alex Libutti is his first time ever on this show, stand-up comic, host of the Hot Dog Hour, and I see him all the time at New York Comedy Club. Alex, good to see you.
What's up, Dean? Thanks for having me, man.
Sure, my friend. And Christopher Titus, known as Titus, is back. He has countless TV specials. His 10th comedy album, Carrying Monsters, out. There might even be a new one. I don't even know.
Yeah.
Titus, good to see you.
Thank you, my friend, having me on. Doomed to Repeat is my new one, and boy, is it pissing people off. But we're good.
Doomed to Repeat? When did that come out?
It's called. It's not out yet. Where I'm touring with it right now. But I did get a standing O in North Dakota. So even though it's so
Wow.
people are pissed. People are pissed countrywide. It's not just the blue states.
That's great. So let me start with Jessica as a former CIA officer. Is Donald Trump a Russian asset? Let's begin with that. We're trying to make sense of why he's destroying the economy on purpose. Like, this is really, so honestly, can we waterboard him? Can we disappear him to an El Salvadorian prison? What can we do?
I think we need to send a honeypot. I don't even know. Like, if we can get some Eastern European woman to take care of him.
Named Melania?
Like, I mean, maybe we should turn.
You did that already. Didn't you guys already do that with Melania?
I'm like, listen, I, for the record, do not speak on behalf of the CIA. Left over a decade ago.
All right, I'm fine. So
wow, that's the first disclaimer in about 30 seconds. I think
this is it goes on from there, Titus. This is every question I come back to. I'm like, so what does the CIA think about
what
this?
What is the CIA? And I'm like, sir, I can't answer these questions, and then I don't have the answers. But I mean, I think that it's easy to speculate what's going on, and that Trump is obviously tanking the economy on purpose. I mean, that's what it seems like to economists, and right, and basically,
sure.
Yeah. It's like,
I will say this. I interviewed a few months ago, right before the election, Christopher Steele, former MI5 agent with Steele dossier. And I asked him point blank, do you think the Russians have blackmail on Trump? And I said, is it possible? Are you concerned? He said, I'm absolutely very concerned. And that they play a long game. They gather things over years, the Russian intelligence, and then they'll use it when it suits them and serves their purpose. And so I don't know. But all right, Alex, it's your first time on this show. You're a former FBI agent. So what do you think about what's going on? Everyone works this up. And Titus is NSA.
They're hiring anybody.
For all intelligence agencies. Talk to me, Libutti. What's going on? What's going on? Tariffs. The stock market is just crashing. It is plummeting again today. And Trump literally shared on TikTok right before we started, am I kidding, a video saying he purposefully made the stock market crash just because this is his ego, where people are like, oh, just say you did it on purpose. Like, you took everyone's nest egg away, so they always have to work. So what's your sense of the Liberation Day, and what was he liberating?
All I can say is it is a great day to not own any assets. That is all I say. It is a great day to be someone who is financially destitute.
That's a good point.
I mean, I think you're right. I think the name of the game, as someone who's worked in publicity, is no matter what happens, you're in control. You're aware and you're reviewing everything. That's it. I'm not going to say anything else, but we are aware. And of course, what we're doing is purposeful.
That's interesting because Titus Libutti, Alex does work in PR, his day job, and for a big firm here in New York. And that's interesting to hear the PR spin about it. Like, that's really, it's not just Trump. It is a sort of a method, a tactic that you would give to a client who's in the middle of something right now. So I think it's interesting too, Alex. Like, there's a lot of like young aspiring comedians like, this is fine. Nothing's affecting me because they have no assets whatsoever. And
I'm like, wait, I might own a comedy club one day.
You might in about 3 months if things continue down on this path. They'll be for sale. Titus, so Liberation Day, what's your take, my friend? I'm sure you've got something.
Liberated a large chunk of my retirement. He's liberated like my faith in humanity. So, but also I think when Roy Cohn is your touchstone, you're just going to be an a-hole the whole time. And Trump's never going to say he did anything wrong, even though I was watching some investors on the news this morning, just kind of doing that weird, it's going to work out, right? So like, and it was really good to watch them come apart. I passed some homeless people went and got coffee, and they were just applauding. They were flipping everybody else driving by. They're happy. They've lost nothing.
So for them,
that they're like, that tent is mine. They really were happy that that we are now at their level. So it's awesome.
I should start every episode of this on my show with the line from the Titanic with the band leader. Gentlemen, it's been a privilege playing with you tonight.
It's weird though, man. Look, he tariffed islands.
Every day stand up.
Sorry.
What'd you say, Jessica?
He tariffed islands with penguins. I mean, how do you put a 34% tariff on Narnia? Why? Like he defunded Hogwarts. What is he doing?
Christopher, all I'll say to that
he goes by Titus, by the way, Alex.
Oh, Titus. Sorry.
Just Titus. Stop.
Mr. Titus.
And that's Brodkin.
No.
And you're
all I'll say about the Penguins is
Titus.
Yeah. All I'll say is that I'm tired of frankly the gutting that the Penguins have done to our country. Okay, we have all seen. Have you seen March of the Penguins?
Yeah,
they've been ripping us
that
off.
Was propaganda. That was propaganda. March of the Penguins. We all left the theater liking them, and look what they've been doing.
And they've been screwing over Americans, dumping their goods at a lower cost here all the time. I have penguin puppets. I have penguin stuffed animals. You see, the American penguin industry has been decimated by the foreign penguin. And by the way, and in case people think we're kidding, there's 2 uninhabited volcanic islands off Australia called Heard and McDonald Islands, where Trump has put a tariff on them. So, and I think the penguins are really, they've now put on a 25% retaliatory tariff on us, which is kind of mean. So for fish that we were sending to them, we were selling them, now American fish is 25% higher than the Australian fish that comes in duty free. Jessica, talk to us. What would the CIA say about, no, I'm kidding.
I do have a theory though, that is related. The thing is that kind of pokes holes in the Donald Trump is that Russia is, the whole theory that Russia has some blackmail on Donald Trump. The truth is, Donald Trump is a narcissist who has no shame about anything. So what could possibly be the blackmail? Like, what could he possibly be ashamed of? I think this man has no shame. He's just so that's my only argument against that theory. That is important. You know what I mean?
Right. But isn't everybody manipulable? Is that the right word? Did I just make up that word?
It almost was a word, but good job.
Really close. Can't you manipulate everybody? And again, you're not speaking for the CIA. I'm talking in general. Don't share anything.
Okay.
But can't you find something that people love or fear, then to control them in a certain way, whatever it might be?
I mean, I think so, right? I would say every single person, but is Trump a normal person? I guess that's the question. Like what's behind his eyes? I guess the thing is so your theory is everyone is manipulative. Everyone has a price.
We can manipulate everyone. I think there's a way, even if it's his ego, right? Appealing to his ego, more of a positive thing where you're like, hey, and Putin calls him up like, you're the best president ever. Everyone, Reagan sucks. You're the king and all this kind of stuff. Right. And he's like, he loves me. I got to do this. But Alex, I mean, I have to be surprised. Donald Trump, you would think if anyone knows finance, would be a convicted felon who went bankrupt 6 times, right? I mean, what has come of us where people are questioning him? Howard Lutnick, the Secretary of Commerce, was on CNN this week going, give him a chance. He knows what he's doing. What? I'm like, based on what? On what? Where? What? Show me one. He left office with less jobs his first term. The first president since Herbert Hoover, which makes sense because now he's following Herbert Hoover's the Smooly Hoyt, the tariffs. So go ahead, Alex. I mean, should we have confidence and faith in Donald Trump?
I think that we've hit a point where everybody's everything now. I think that if you have enough bankruptcies, that's still some experience in finance, right?
You're spinning. This is PR spin. Right. One bankruptcy is a loser, but 6 is a strategic choice.
6 is, I mean, you're playing the game now, baby. Let's play
Right.
ball.
That's so funny. I heard there was a comedian friend of mine who was talking about like in his community. I can't remember if he's black or brown. And he's like, in my community, he's like, he's cool. This is not now, but like he played the game and he won the game and he went bankrupt and screw you. I'm like, you see this as a sign of good? He goes, no, I'm just sharing what people tell him. I'm like,
Right.
wow. I never thought of that ever. So Titus, to you, I want to, Senator Chris Murphy from Connecticut, he actually gave a long thread where he said these are not tariffs. He goes, forget the economic thing. They are a tool to collapse our democracy, a means to compel loyalty from every business that will need to petition Trump for relief. And in return, he will demand things like loyalty and policing employees. You can't criticize Donald Trump and you have to give money to his campaigns. And so Murphy's trying to think it through to another level here, applying the autocratic frame over the economic one. What
It's
do you
even
think?
more simple than that. It's just it's protection money, basically. He's saying, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to tell you, you can pay 34%, 38%, or you can just give us a call. Like how many of these countries are going to buy his meme coin and he's going to drop the tariffs? I mean, the whole thing is right now. He went in, he set up the whole thing as it's a heist. The whole thing is a heist. And
He's
wait,
going old school.
you can manipulate everybody. Dean has videos of me from the early 80s of my stand-up that I don't want anybody to see, and that's why I'm on the show all the time. So
That's right. And there's a
everybody's
TV,
manipulating. But
there's
it's a
TV
heist.
series
Dean,
too.
Dean,
Right.
it's a heist. And I think I asked somebody once, I have some friends in higher up in intelligence, and someone said to me, I go, why would he be doing it? Because I had the same point you had, just go, or like what could he hung out with Epstein, like what possibly could he have on him? And nothing would surprise us. And somebody said Putin kills people. And so at the end of the day, between money and and that's the one thing Trump's afraid of is and I think there's some threats made that he has to deal with. And don't we need a fourth branch of government. We have the legislative, the executive, and the other one, and then we need like bouncers. We need some people that just fucking come in and clear. Just go, okay, you've violated the Constitution 5 times. You got to go. Can we have the fourth?
That's kind of interesting because the Supreme Court can't enforce their rulings, right? That's the famous thing.
Right.
Let them try to enforce it. It would be to have a couple of big guys. They're like, who are you guys? We're with the Supreme Court. Let's go.
Supreme Court Avengers, maybe something like that.
That'd be really cool. And they come in there and they just grab you and they're like, get out, the Supreme Court's here. That would be really kind of cool. Jessica.
Yes, dear.
We're trying to laugh here because it's ending. As we're sitting here,
Yeah.
the stock market just spirals into. I recalculated based on what I have in my 401k. I have to retire at 137. So it's going to be a lot of years
Solid.
working. And at least there's still a number. Like, I mean, it's not like a symbol.
Yes.
We're going to get to that point. So, I mean, isn't there a point where the average American, and just so people know, now a little over 60% of Americans have some exposure to the stock market. It used to be like 35%, then it was 45 and 50. In the last decade, it really jumped up with 401ks, IRAs, Roth IRAs, and just stock portfolios. So 60% of Americans, except for the really sophisticated ones who are shorting stuff, they're feeling some pain now. And there's got to be some political blowback. At some point, something has to make sense. We can't live in this dictatorship where we just wait years to have a midterm and 4 years to have a pretend election for president.
I mean, there are a few issues here. One, we're in a cult. There's a cult that surrounds Donald Trump. And this has to be, I don't know if it's just like, I know you have a theory that Russia's manipulating, and maybe that's part of it.
I don't know.
But also, this is, there are a couple of professors of fascism who've been studying fascism their whole life who have fled America, 3 of them, right? From Yale. I think it was this
Timothy
week.
Snyder and Jason Stanley, 2, and they brought their wife and their kids. So it's like 5. It was like a package deal.
Yeah.
Air
It's a
Canada was
package
running a
deal.
special.
So,
To Toronto.
so I guess my question is this entire crashing of the economy, destroying the stock market, just bringing America to their knees, bringing the average American to their knees to establish a dictatorship. It's like gutting the American
Interesting.
system to establish a dictatorship and to establish fascism. That's what I see.
So are you saying that as someone who used to be a CIA officer, that's what we did to other countries? Like, we're going to destroy the economy, then they're going to turn to communism, then we can say whatever we want about them. I like that. Do you know anything about Allende? Anything? So
funny.
1973 Chile. We won't get into it now. What was his name? Mossadegh, the Iran? Yeah, that was your people, but that was in the 50s before you were there.
And before it was me, I was there during the Iran, not Iran, the Iraq and Afghan wars, but that wasn't my account.
I'm coming to you. Joining me now on the Situation Room's Jessica Brodkin, Alex Libutti, and Titus. Libutti, where do you come down here? I mean, look, it's, you're a comedian, but you're a PR guy.
Mhm.
Is this just a PR problem for Democrats? And we can touch on Cory Booker a little bit. I mean, he broke through. He's the first Democrat to really break through in a way where he got headlines everywhere. Even Fox News had to address the fact that he stood for 25 hours, which is just on his own. You should get headlines for that.
Right.
Totally.
In your mid-50s, you do that? Like, come on. You
That's
deserve a
crazy.
gold medal. They should just give him a gold medal at the next Olympics. But so what do you think, Libutti? I mean, if you were giving some advice to Democrats from a PR point of view, and sincerely, you are a PR person as well as a comedian, what would you say to them about breaking through and getting their narrative out there and telling the story to our fellow Americans, not just responding to Trump? Because everything is like, Trump says this, and Democrats like, oh, we're going to have a podium. We're going to stand behind a podium in the basement of the Capitol, and we're going to say that's really bad. But Booker did something different. So what more can they do?
That's a really good question. I think that the messaging is definitely is in need of some reworking. I think that whether people mean to do it or not, I think we all kind of, a lot of times I feel like Trump leads the messaging for both sides in that he says whatever he wants, so his side will go with it, but he says whatever he wants, and then instead of trying to tackle it, everyone else kind of just responds to it. And I feel like that's kind of the whole, it's not even that deep. It's like, that's the same thing that happened to YouTube is what's happening to the Democrats, and that it's like, everything on YouTube now is just reaction. And it's like, me and two people are going to react to this. And it's like, enough of that. I want something new, or I want something that's like different, or I guess it comes down to the whether you like the messaging that, Trump has, you have to hand it to him that he's saying his own thing. Sometimes I feel like a lot of people still will kind of co-opt something even if they don't really fully believe it. Whereas at least I know whatever Trump is saying, he's definitely he's saying it. No one's giving him any talking points or anything. So I think that it could serve as a nice little wake-up call to like kind of maybe try to tackle things or address things differently, and not maybe have to rely on, well, what is that side saying, or what do they think about it? Because I would argue that the other side doesn't care, so neither side cares. So it's like, say what you want.
That's such a great point. The other side doesn't care. I talked to Democratic members of Congress and strategists, and when I propose, I go, why don't you do this? And their answer is, well, if we do, Republicans are going to say this.
Right.
And I go, I can assure you Republicans never go, well, if we say this, we're going to upset Democrats.
Yeah.
Never. Oh, we don't want to upset them. And then they're going to get mad and they're going to go on TV and say things. It's F us all the time. So Titus, what about Booker? He did not use the bathroom for 25 hours. I have to go every 40 minutes. Like, this is unbelievable.
That was maddening. I have to go now. That was maddening to me.
25 hours.
And by the way, I want to apologize to Jessica. Jessica, when you get yanked out and taken to a hidden facility to be interviewed after Dean keeps calling you out, I really want to apologize. We'll find you.
Oh, thank you.
We're doing the show from El
here's the
Salvador
thing.
next weekend.
I thought it was a bit performative. I think he could use some punch up. I've been to one-man shows that felt that long. That being said, I think at one point I had this feeling that it felt like the guy eating the most hot dogs for the Guinness Book of World Records. And I think that it was almost like, look, it was great that he did it. I think it was fun. It was good to see any Democrat have the balls to step up and just do something so performative that we had to pay attention. The problem is our news cycle is so quick and so fast and just moves on that I don't know if it had any impact whatsoever. We're all talking about it. But if, again, any show that I'm on isn't really peaking, So I just want to say
this is the hottest show.
By the way, Dean, can I say this?
On this channel.
You're awesome. Can I say something? You look great in a suit on TV. You really do, man.
Thank you. That's
some
my
really smart
that's
stuff.
why
I trust you a lot
Dean,
when I see you in a
Dean,
suit.
do you think it really had? Do you think it really did something? What we really need is. We need 7, 8, 10 million people to show up in Washington, D.C. I think the only thing that's going to change what's happening, but it was great. I'm glad he did it. Again, I kept thinking, how is he peeing? How is he peeing? It actually made me insane. Do you think it was worth it?
Look, I think for doing what I talk about on my show, I want Democrats to punch Trump in the face every day. Every
Yep.
day, punch him in the face. Not resistance, punch him in the face, which means take the narrative, knock him off his game. Well, Cory Booker did that. So he got some press, and there were some
True.
clips that went viral. And yeah, I'll tell you this, from listeners to my show, it inspired people. And we
You know
are
what
in
he said? You know
desperate
what he
need of inspiration.
Sorry, you know what he said? I thought was great. He said, "You can't lead the people if you don't love the people." And all we got to do is ask Tiffany and Junior. He doesn't love anybody,
Right?
even his own children. So
I like
I
that.
thought that was one of the best quotes I've heard in a long time. You can't lead the people if you don't love the people. I thought that was great.
25 hours, the longest performance I ever did stand up. I did a one-man show that was about an hour, and I was bored. By then I'm like, this is
Like,
long.
come to my one woman show. It's an hour of like pure joy and lots of CIA stuff that I can talk about.
You can. Did you have to get your stuff cleared before
Yes.
you did?
Yes.
You did. Wow.
Yeah.
Did you have to clear? Do I have to submit this show before
No,
I can
I think
post
you're
it?
fine because I didn't.
I'm not even sure what's going on anymore. Yeah. By the way, so Donald Trump, after trashing the economy, and now intentionally saying on TikTok, he did like most people. He went to Disney World. He went down to Florida and went to the golf tournament, LIV golf tournament, 54 in Roman numerals, because that's how many holes they play in the tournament. I'm not even kidding you. And it's a Saudi Arabia funded golf tournament. And it really is. It's not a hidden thing. And
The boys.
they were giving him money during his off years from the White House. He was making hundreds of millions of dollars from the Saudis directly because they were doing all the tournaments there. So that's where he is. And by the way, right before we came on air, that they're going to have it's called dignified transfer of the 4 bodies of the U.S. soldiers who died in Lithuania at the military base. And he's not going. He's staying at the golf tournament down at his, and you're like, you can't be any more veteran. You can't be any more troops. Titus, let me go to you because you're in fatigues right now. So you look like you're coming on this. You are. He is in fatigues. People get these on the radio, but I'm not kidding. People watching it can see it. Talk to me.
It's weird. Well, of course, societies want to show up to his house. They got to go into to his shitter and read some nuclear documents that he still has left over.
Yep.
They want to see all the secrets. He still got them. He called soldiers suckers and losers. We have definite, firsthand account that he said that. It bothers me. It bothers me more than anything. Listen, there's no upside to this guy. How the hell did anybody vote for him? There's like, when it comes to veterans, nope. When it comes to like our adversaries, nope. Everything, I don't get it. And what he's doing in Mar-a-Lago, he's in the second term, he's basically just said, screw it. I'm just going to do what I want. And I think I just don't get it, man. I just don't get it. And then we've got Elon running the country. Again, we need bouncers. We need bouncers. I don't even know what. Isn't it hard to wrap your mind around it?
It is. I say that on my show.
At one point, you're
it
like,
is.
what? Like every just the list. We're 70 days in. 70 days. It's and the entire country is coming apart. The stock market's down almost 5,000 points since he took over, and they keep telling us the Orwellian nature of them continuing to tell us it's going to be fine. A little bit of pain, and it'll be fine. They were flipping out that eggs were 80 cents more expensive, and they wanted it fixed today. But they're okay with losing $17,000 in their retirement. Yeah, because it'll work out. So I don't know what to say. I'm coming here this is my last show before Armageddon, so I just wanted to say hi to you one more time.
It's good to see you. So, Jessica, Trump said when he's getting sworn in, he was going to usher in a golden age. Do you think it was just a difference of understanding of the definition of that term? Because maybe my idea of golden age was different. I know he meant to say gilded age because that was the time of the oligarchs controlling everything, but he said a golden age, and we are struggling. And just to give some perspective here, the stock market had closed at 45,000 in December, the month before he's sworn in. Now it's at 39,000. NASDAQ was over 20,000. It's at 16,000. Consumer confidence just hit a 12-year low, just a report a week ago. That was before the tariff. So consumer confidence, before he was sworn in, the Fed said we would have growth of 2.5% this year. JP Morgan this morning said 60% chance of recession and no more growth. So this is objectively bad. And like Titus, like you say, I said on my show, there are times I go, I'm intellectually not able to comprehend what's going on. I'm just going to make noises for the next 5 minutes. I'm like,
What about a forced recession on purpose so that rich people can buy up assets cheaper? I mean, this is the only thing that makes sense. Or destroying the economy so that people have to rely even more on government. Or I just think this is just a fast track to fascism and dictatorship and authoritarian.
like Chris Murphy said.
That's just
It is what Hitler did.
this is what's happening. And Titus, in terms of like, I don't understand what's happening. I really think that a cult of personality has been created around Trump, and that people really, in the absence of the mythos and the religiosity that used to have, people turn other people into gods.
Oh,
People
interesting.
turn
How do
other
I do that?
Don't do it.
Well, let me
Asking
get
for a
me
friend,
my art.
not
Let me
for
get
me.
you this book from my work at the CIA, and I'll hand it over to no. But people turn into gods. They turn other people. That's what celebrity worship is about. That's what political worship is about. That's why people have stadiums. That's why people called what do you call Kanye called himself Yeezus. Didn't he call himself Yeezus?
Yeah,
yeah.
That's
Jesus,
Mr. Yeezus.
Jay-Z called himself Hove. People turn themselves into these beings, and I think that's what's happening.
I'm going to shorten my name. My name, you can see behind me, Obeidallah. I'm just going to change it to Allah.
I'm already calling myself Titus.
That.
So
You're Titus. I'll be
I'm
Allah.
already doing it. I'm already doing it weirdly, but I'm doing it so I can sell some T-shirts after my shows. I'm not doing it for any other reason.
Libutti, well, how could you make
bigger, Titus? Think bigger, Titus.
my name?
I don't need to. I have no,
Titus is.
Here, but when you say that, Hitler kind of destroyed the German economy. Here's what I think. If Trump goes, there's a bunch of reasons. I agree with you. I think the stock market is one thing. If all his rich buddies can come in and buy everything up cheap,
And they can.
he goes bankrupt, that's number one. But
Like
number two,
vultures.
if he destroys everything, then he can go, I alone can fix it. Then he unleashes the power of the government, comes in, and we all go, oh my God, he fixed it. No, people, he destroyed it. He destroyed it. And so I think we're screwed for a minute, and I don't know if the midterms are going to work. Did you see after watching all the and I hate to do this, but the anomalies in the 2020 election and the 2024 election with the machines is pretty crazy. You should go. There's some videos on it you should check out. There was
Greg
some
Pabst,
of the machines. If you look at the research at 500 votes in 2020, the machines started changing votes for Trump. There's an anomaly called a Russian tail. Now I'm asking the CIA. I'm asking the CIA about this. There's the Russian tail. And if you look at the 24 election, they started changing votes at 250 because it didn't work. Remember, Trump always accuses everybody else of what he's doing. So I think we got.
All right. I'm not. Look, we're going to watch carefully because the Wisconsin race was very good. But before we go to break, Titus, you remind me of the quote from Oppenheimer, Robert Oppenheimer, who said, and he was quoting a line from a famous Indian philosopher, but now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds. And on some level, that's where Trump is now. And because to go on TikTok, to post a video on TikTok that someone on his team made saying, I'm doing this purposely, you're like, it's laughable. But for some of his base, they're like, you see, he's a genius. Yeah. And I guess some of that 40% that has no exposure to the stocks, I'm sure a chunk of them, I'm not being elitist about this, although I am an elitist person. I feel myself, I don't think I'm better than Trumpers. I know I'm better than Trumpers. Like, it's not like I'm snooty by accident. Like, I know what I am. I know what they are. But the 40% that don't have any exposure to the market, I bet you a big chunk of them are the MAGA base. And that's the reality of the world we live in. So let's take a break and come back, and we're going to talk about back here on the Allah show, which I'm going by from now on. By the way, Obeidallah means servant of God. I'm the little servant of God.
100%.
That's what it means in Arabic. Yep. Now just Allah. So we're going to take a break, come back with Jessica, Alex, and Titus right after this. And welcome back, Dean Obeidallah Show. We're continuing here, and all three people stuck around for a change. Jessica Brodkin, Alex Libutti, and Titus. I'm Allah. And like Charlemagne the God, no more Charlemagne the God. How about Dean the God, Dean the Allah? I will take on Charlemagne the God. His studios aren't far. I'm going over there. It's like Dean the Allah to see Charlemagne the God. They're like, what? Exactly. He's here to throw down. So let's see what I find. Oh, this is interesting. Here was good news. You're speaking of elections in Wisconsin, Titus, and maybe this kind of speaks to what you were talking about in a way, because maybe they can rig things, but they couldn't do this one. Elon Musk spent over 20 million. It'll probably be in the area of 25 million once we're done with it all. Right. Team Trump went all in. Like the media kind of missed that. Donald Trump Jr. was there. Charlie Kirk, the head of the MAGA youth movement, was there. In the ads for the judge, the Republican judge, all the ads were the Trump endorsement. This was a full, Trump's tweeting about him, all of them. And they made it a Musk loss. It was a Trump Musk loss. Both of them lost. They lost by 10 points. They got crushed there. And so look, Alex, because you didn't get to talk before much here. So talk to me, Libutti. I'm going to go by, or do you prefer AL? Do you have a nickname growing up?
I was Libutti. I was a last name guy.
Libutti, just the booty, Libutti.
Just the booty.
And that means something in Italian, right? Doesn't it?
You know, some people tell me it means something in French, so I don't think anybody knows anything. Is
Is your
what I've
name not
deduced.
Italian? It's not Italian?
No, it is Italian.
But you
But I
have
don't know
no
what
idea what it means.
I don't know what it means. I'm kind of afraid. I don't want to find out.
I know what it means. I looked it up. It's on Google. There's a thing called Google that has everything on it. Okay, talk to me, Libutti, about are you connected to Libutti Jewelers in Huntington, New York? 'Cause
I
that came up-
actually am. That's my aunt.
Are you
My cousin's aunt.
serious?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, it was a free plug for Libutti Diamond
Hey,
Jewelers.
Libutti
So,
Jewelers, check it out.
oh my God, that's so funny. That's a small world. So where were we? Oh, the election in Wisconsin. Look, wasn't that a good moment? Democrats went all in, Republicans went all in, and Democrats won by 10 points. Like it wasn't even close in a state Trump just carried.
Mhm. I wonder if, to Titus's point earlier, it I always laugh at how much America hates any sort of middle ground. Like we have to swing each time, huge swings. We're boom and bust. We're good and bad. And sometimes I wonder if people are voting, they go to vote, and then as soon as they vote, they've swung. Like by the time they leave the booth, they're like, I hate him. So I wonder if now we're all going that way again. And now it's like everybody, as soon as they walked out, went, oh my God. And now they're doing that.
That's
It does
interesting
seem like it
because
was a huge, to
Right.
your point, like just a night and day.
no, I think it's an interesting point. I always say about like the mayor of New York, the most popular that person is on election night. Because like the next day, people are like, what an asshole. This place sucks. By the way, Libutti means in dialect barrels. Booty means barrels, an Italian dialect. Online, I had looked it up
Get
before.
out.
I'm not kidding. And I'm glad. Titus, what does your name mean? Any idea? In some language?
King of all I survey, I think. I mean, I'm just going.
Are you a Nordic
odd thing
god?
from
Are you
earlier?
a
I'm just
Nordic?
now.
Just
it
a guess.
means- Yeah, just. This whole thing with the money with Elon Musk, no one should have that much money. I mean, you have too
I
much
agree.
money. Like I had a couple good years of my life with my TV show, and I never even made Jews will not replace us money. So that this guy has Zig Heil money is pretty crazy. So
That's
I
very
think it's
funny.
good news. I think it's good news. It's a tiny light that what he put in didn't work. But it's weird to watch this billionaire shadow president with a cheese hat and like the dancing skills of an epileptic seizure that he's running our country is stunning to me. So it was good. I just, what I really hope? I hope that the Republicans in Congress that are scared shitless that they're going to get primaried look at it now and realize, oh, he's not omnipotent. He's not going to run over all of us. Maybe we can stand up and grow some balls now. That would be nice.
Jessica, will they grow balls? That's the question.
I don't think so.
What the CIA say?
No, I don't think that they're going to grow balls. I think that we have
Yeah.
multiple groups with multiple agendas. We have Project 2025. We have people who are religious right, Christian nationalists. Like we're not dealing, we're dealing with people who worship different gods, right? And who
Right.
have different agendas. So there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that going on. That's how I see it. I see it as
It's interesting you say that mentioned Project 2025. I didn't tell you guys before. I'm working on Project 1998 because that was the year I peaked. So I just want to go back.
100%.
I want to try to bring everyone back to 1998, pre-internet. I was kind of cool. I had potential. That's the biggest thing. Like Libutti, you're really young. When you're young, like the best thing you have is potential. Like for me, like I read an article about this guy who's like 27. He died. Like, oh, he had so much potential. At my point in life, if I died like he peaked, he
did.
peaked years ago. Like there was no like maybe in 10 years something big's gonna happen. I'm happy what I'm doing, but this is maybe I come up with slightly, but
you're doing great.
thank you.
are
No, I
smart
wasn't
guy.
trying to be needy to get a compliment.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
very needy, but I'm just saying, like, it's funny. Just like I was thinking, like, if I did my own project, that's not even a bit. I'm just thinking about it because if I mentioned Project 2025 at a comedy club in New York, even in New York City, 3 people would know it in the crowd. Like
Right.
we live in this world where we say these things in this rarefied world of knowing things, and the average person like, what are you talking about? It's okay. It's 2025. What's the project? Like, okay, forget it.
I agree, Alex. Alex, we need to go back to a time when it was pinball machines and BMX bikes.
Let's do it.
That was the
I've
best
heard
time of my life.
stories.
The stocks I would buy. The stocks I would buy.
Oh my God. There were even before the internet. I'd be telling people there's this thing, the internet. And,
Yeah. It would be amazing.
I wanna be-
Pets.com, guys. Pets.com, all in.
I want to start. I want us to just be. If I could lock in any year, it would be the year that Karate Kid came out. That's sort of
Oh.
why, like, like that was. I look back. I'm like, that was fun. I went to the mall.
Seconded.
Everyone was like, you're dreaming about everything. Like when you're younger, anything you dream of, it could happen, right? That's the reality of this world. I mean, that's it, and that's not. That's a. I know this is a comedy show, but I'm just, all right, Libutti, you're gone. How dare you? So, all right, let's continue on here. This is interesting. So the Trump administration actually admitted to an error, which is so unlike them. They accidentally deported a guy to El Salvador. His name was Kilmar Garcia. He lived with his U.S. citizen wife and child. He was permitted by the court to stay here since 2019 because he was fleeing from gangs that wanted to kill him. He lives in Maryland. And then they said administrative error, and we sent him to that horrific prison in El Salvador. And the best part is the Trump administration, who is paying the government of El Salvador to keep them, goes, well, we can't do anything about it. Like, what do you want us to do? Like, do you have a phone? You want to call the guy that you own, the fake president of El Salvador, who's now become a client state, like we're the Soviet Union and it's Belarus. I mean, so what do you think, Jessica? I mean, can't they get the guy out? And by the way, JD Vance, such a scumbag. JD Vance is, the more we see him, what a vile person. He just lies like Trump, but he's smart. Trump is delusional. There's something deeply wrong with it. I'm not defending his lies. He's a scumbag.
Yeah.
JD Vance might even be slightly more evil. Like Trump is evil, I think. But Jessica, what do you think? Because I was getting a JD Vance lied and said he was.
Of course, we can get him back. If there's no due process for one person, there's no due process for anyone.
Amen.
You know what I mean? Like this guy, like how do you even prove in the future? I mean, they're taking people off the street. How do you prove that you're a citizen? You know what I mean? So people don't have their passports and their birth certificates just on them.
I do.
I should.
I do
should.
now.
My lesson has the word Allah in it. I'm going to be
You
carried
definitely
at
should.
all
I don't.
times.
Maybe I should. But like, of course they can get him back. What are they talking about? The problem is we have in America a for-profit prison system. And so now we've taken that to another country. So what a shit show. Absolutely. This is actually, for me personally, the most horrifying part of what's going on.
The disappearing of people off the streets and then lying about them.
And then lying about them and saying you can't get, of course you can get them back. Maybe the administration of this prison isn't so good. That makes sense. That seems logical, but they can figure it out.
Well, talk about lying, like with Mahmoud Khalil, who, when they first took him, he's a green card, like he supports Hamas. He was aiding them. And then they pressed him. They go, okay, well, he was doing protests and made people uncomfortable. And then they're like, okay, we went back and they found his application for a green card. He didn't mention literally an internship he had with the UN Relief Work Agency, which up until Trump, we were funding. So you can't go like, well, when he was applying, there was not an issue. It's not an issue now. It's a political issue. But we were literally funding the UN Relief Work Agency hundreds of millions of dollars. So what's wrong with that? So the more you push them, it doesn't matter. Like in my point, JD Vance earlier this week when he was pressed on Garcia, and they said, well, he was never convicted of being in a gang. But JD Vance, like he was convicted of being in a gang. That was a lie. And then JD Vance backup was, well, he committed some traffic violations. I'm like, you got to shut up. You have to shut up. This is ridiculous. Alex, I've committed traffic violations. I'm probably on a list for various reasons. Do you think you're on a list? What do you think?
Oh, I am definitely on multiple lists for sure. I listen, probably for all unrelated reasons.
Funny comedian list.
No, not that one. Definitely not. No, I mean, I thought it was, I mean, I don't want to say funny, but it was funny to watch it kind of degrade in terms of, they were like, he was helping a terrorist organization. They were like, hey, he didn't move for alternate side parking one time. Like, it just became like,
he jaywalked on 34th Street. We have a picture of it with the camera.
So it is
right here.
It makes it feel silly. And I don't know why people can't ever just be like, oh, we messed up, because, now in the future, there's going to be a situation where there is someone who maybe is dangerous, who maybe there is a reason to like, deport them or do some sort of, judicial administrative task. But now if that happens, we're all going to be like, hold on, like, okay, what did this, like, well, what did this guy do? What did he not, like you said, what did he jaywalk? Like, it's like they kind of already started the slippery slope now where it's like,
It's a slip and
now
slide.
I don't know. It's already apparent that you're kind of just doing it based on like vibe. Like, you're like,
First vibe administration. Your Honor, we had a bad vibe about the guy. Look at him. He makes me uncomfortable. Look at it.
which
Don't
is
love him. Like,
scary
don't.
because,
Right.
it's like I think I'm like most people where, of course, there's plenty of things that I don't like in the world and in our country, but I still think you should be allowed to feel how you feel. That's kind of the point of like living here.
That's the beauty. Titus, do you have any concerns that they would
Yeah, I
pick
mean,
up
yeah.
you?
When,
Pick
when
you up?
JD Vance said it was parking tickets, I'm actually doing this from my prison cell in El Salvador right now just to buy
It's
traffic
very
violation.
nice though. You have a good
But
room.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: we talk about it on this show, and it's funny. But to watch that student, who's the girl that got
Tufts,
taken off the street and
at
had the
Tufts
video?
University.
Yeah, this is Nazi shit. I wish people understood that this is, if you know history at all, this is the beginning of the scariest time in American history. We've never had this, and to just take a dude off the street because he's got an autism tattoo. I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen many autistic gangs, but to send him to El Salvador, and then like Jessica was saying, how we can get anything anywhere. How can we not pull a guy that we illegally put in prison with no due process or an attorney? How can we just shrug our shoulders? That's the scariest moment, that our government collectively shrugged their shoulders and went, oops, we can't get him now, moving on. And now Trump's golfing.
They don't
This
care. I mean, obviously they could get
Yeah,
him.
but
We
this
know.
isn't. But Dean, and I hate to not be funny right now because I hate to not be funny because
Right.
it's desperate. It's my fear and desperation to just it's oxygen. But we need 10 million of us need to show up or more in Washington and shut this guy down. I'm ready to burn it down and rebuild the White House. Yeah, this is the scariest time in American history, and I wish people would go back and really, really frame it like that, because when you're pulling innocent people off the streets and not letting them do anything to actually protect themselves, prove themselves, and just sending them on a plane to a foreign country, we don't know what that prison's like, and that's why they don't
Right.
want to let him out. Because here's the problem: if they let that guy out and come back, he gets to tell everybody what the hell's really going on in that prison, and when that happens, all hell will break loose.
That's an interesting point. Look, I mean, I could call DoorDash and they could pick him up tomorrow. I mean, they're just great.
Exactly. There's
Make an extra tip.
No tip.
Go,
No
go
tip.
to El Salvador and like on the way back, there's a 7-Eleven if you can pick up some stuff. And it's like, okay, great. And they'll be here like
I
in
need
45
chips.
minutes.
I
Yeah,
need
I
chips
mean,
and guacamole. When you get them, we just get chips and guacamole.
I could call
don't think-
DoorDash in a hurricane and the person gets here on a bicycle. Like,
Thank you
live
for
in
finding the
Manhattan.
funny in my horrible nightmares.
It's the end. So, look, Jessica, you probably made people disappear. So how is this? No,
We're so sorry, Jessica. It'll be fine.
It'll be. I'm kidding. Just going back to the CIA stuff. Not because it's funny, because it's true. No, it's not true. Jessica had nothing to do with disappearing people. You interrogated, right? That's what you did. No, you didn't do anything.
I was an analyst. I was clearly a nerd. Look at my. Yeah.
You were like, no, Carrie was out in Homeland.
Yeah.
She was out in the street. Like she was doing missions. You didn't do that stuff.
No. I was behind a desk where I belong.
You were like Harrison Ford in who was supposed to be an analyst, then he got pushed into service. Like what was that?
I was an analyst.
Hunter October.
whole
That
time.
was Alec Baldwin did that, but no, what was his name? Jack Ryan. Were you Jack Ryan?
No.
Jessica Ryan?
Dean, you're gonna get her killed. Stop
Stop it.
talking about
Yeah,
this.
her handlers are behind the
Stop
screen.
talking
Stop.
about this.
Titus, enough.
There were. Let's continue on here. I'm talking with Jessica Brodkin, Alex
Yeah.
Libutti, and Titus. So let's shift gears to entertainment stuff because we got a few minutes left and try to, as like a buffer or sort of a sorbet to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
So they're going to make 4 Beatles. I love the Beatles just at the outset,
You do.
but they're going to make 4 Beatle movies directed by Sam Mendes, a great director, but for about each Beatle. And they have like stars for each one. John Lennon's going to be played by Harrison Dickinson. Paul Mescal is going to play Paul McCartney. Barry Keithan, whatever, I know who he is. Ringo Starr and Joseph Quinn's going to play George Harrison. Why can't you just make one good one? Like a long one. Why each gets their own? And where's the Pete Best movie? I mean, he was a Beatle for a short time. He was a
Yeah.
drummer.
It's a
So-
money grab, but like the movie industry generally doesn't make innovative artsy things anymore, except obviously we had Honora sweep the Oscars. But in general, I think they're doing the Beatles because they're like, oh, people love the Beatles. this is going to make money. We're going to just stretch it out. I think it's a money thing.
It probably is. Libutti, would you watch this? Are you a Beatles fan? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm a Beatles fan. You know, I'm for it because there's just simply not enough Beatles content out there, right? I mean, nobody knows anything. This eclectic band that came out of nowhere that no one really cared about. So I think that the the 4 film anthology is gonna finally, I think, wake people up. They're gonna see, like, guys, hey, they have a couple songs, you know?
That's funny. It's an anthology, just like the Beatles anthology. So you're right. They're making an anthology. Then if this does well, it'll be the Rolling Stones, like 6
Oh
versions
yeah,
of
you know they
that.
got all of them lined up
It's
already.
all like all the British invasion people. And Titus, would you watch that one? And is there some other people in music that you actually love a band so much, or like there should be?
There's more people that have died that love the Beatles than are currently alive that love the
100%.
Beatles.
Ah.
And I think the only way this movie works is to get those fans, and then you cast Ringo, Danny DeVito as Ringo. You bring in some actors, the beloved Pacino as Paul. You bring in some really beloved actors. That's how you get the Beatles audience in. I don't, and you know, I love the Bob Dylan movie. I thought it was well done, but was there a lot of petitions for that movie? Were people just screaming for the Bob Dylan movie? And I think that's the same thing with the Beatles.
I think I love what you're saying. Like maybe De Niro's John Lennon, like go
Yeah,
against
there you
type.
go.
Or like he's an angry John Lennon yelling at people. What are you looking at? That kind of stuff. Like,
Edward
why you
Norton
don't like-
as George. Edward Norton as George.
Sure.
I'll go see this movie.
That's it. I like that very much. And I don't know who would play Yoko for John Lennon, but I don't want
We'll
to
find
say anything.
someone.
We have to go to HR, so we're not going to. All right, so. All right, before we run out of time, I want to give everyone a chance to plug what you're working on, where people can follow you, check stuff out. Jessica, where can people follow your work, my friend?
They can follow my work on at Jessica Brodkin, Brodkin, on Instagram or X. I will be posting my one-woman show there, and Love and Light Services for any Reiki stuff.
Are you torn? Did your one-person show at the festival, right, in
I
Edinburgh?
did it in Scotland. I did it in the Edinburgh Fringe. Yeah.
And now you're going to do it here in the States, or not?
I've done it in the States a couple of times, and I'm planning to do more. Yeah, it feels finished now. It was a work in progress there.
Great. And Alex Libutti, where can people follow you?
I have a website. It's
Excellent.
www.alexlibutti.com. Go on it, please buy tickets. I'm trying to change my life. You can follow me. I have an Instagram. It's Phyui, Phyui. I don't know why that's the name. It's bad marketing. And I have a show called The Hot Dog Hour. It's a radio show. It's every 4th Wednesday on a station called Half Moon Brooklyn.
And of course, there's Libutti Jewelers in Huntington.
And
Make sure
of
you go there.
course, please visit my aunt at Libutti Jewelers in Huntington. She will make custom designs for you, okay?
So-
And she will do it with love, and she will do it like a nice Italian lady would. She would go like, you point something out. she'll make it-
Hey,
she'll
what
go
do you
like,
want over
Long
here?
nails.
beautiful.
Long
Get
nails.
your
She'll make
arms
you
off
feel
the
good.
glass. What are you doing? Stop looking at that. That's it. Titus, what about you, my friend? Where can people follow you? You always have stuff going.
Go to ChristopherTitus.com or Christopher Titus TV on YouTube to see our podcast, The Armageddon Update, which since Trump won is really doing well. Also, I'm touring with my new show, Doomed to Repeat. And due to the stock market falling, I've started a mobile car detailing business that you guys, I'll be making up cards and we'll get you the number tomorrow.
Well, that's great. I have a shift at Home Depot in an hour. So we all have to do what we got to do, my friends. It was great seeing all 3 of you. I really appreciate it.